even though we haven't been to each other's classroom, I'm quite positive that we share at least one thing in common, a large class size, okay? And when I say a large class, I mean you have to manage at least, okay, 25 students. So I would like to ask you, how many of you have to manage more than 25 students in your class? Can you raise your hands? Wow, wow. That's a lot of you. Thank you. So we share the same situation, okay? Here's my happy face student. They are engineering students. I'm teaching in a university in Thailand, and I'm teaching non-English major students. And yeah, now they are happy. I just took this picture last week. Okay, and and why am I talking about a large class? Because as teacher, we struggle. Okay, we have this one struggle, the struggle to motivate our students to speak English in the classroom. Okay, but okay, what happened? Okay, when we teach a large class, what normally happen? We have problem discipline them, right? Because when we give lectures, they are talking. Right? They're making noises, but you know what will make them silent? Ask questions. Ask them to talk, right? Here, this is the reaction we get. We get exactly 3 dots. Yeah, they're silent, just they're silent. And on top of that, we don't just get silence, we get rows of blank faces, okay? And the funny thing is sometimes we see our students pretending to be busy, right? Reading book, keeping busy reading book, and trying to avoid our eye contact. So why is that? Have you ever questioned yourself why our students become silent, become quiet all of a sudden when we ask them to speak English in the classroom? Well, generally speaking, the first thing, because they fear. Right? Students, the fear of the teacher criticism, their friends' criticism, even though we try to be very soft on them, but still the fear that we will say something not so pleasant to them. And beside criticism, they may lack knowledge, I mean English skill, and lack confidence or lack of preparation. So, what I do in the classroom to make students want to speak more English, okay, I have magic rules. Only 3 rules that will change your classroom entirely, because we want students to participate in the classroom and to initiate their own learning. So, the first rule, I have 2 weather icons here. So let's say you are going out on a picnic or want to do something fun, enjoyable activities. What type of the weather would you choose, sunny or stormy? Sunny, of course, and sunny also make you feel safe, right? Make you feel you want to do things. But if you want to go out on a picnic, you won't choose the stormy. So we teacher, we have to be the sunshine for our students. Make the classroom a safe place for them. Make the classroom a fun place where they can enjoy learning, okay? And how do I do that? How do you do that? How do you bring the sunshine to your classroom? We can start for the first day, okay? Imagine your first day in school. What do you normally do? Do you carry books and walk to your desk without looking at your student? And they just drop everything and then they say, I'm your teacher. My name is Jidapha Setthajan. You ready? I'm going to begin the class now. Are you doing that? Are you guilty of it? No. Well, you shouldn't do that. Instead, you should, well, I'm not trying to say that you should, but what I do, when I walk into the classroom, I try to have small talk with my student first, okay? I just say, are you English 5 student, group 19? Yeah, yeah. When the student recover from the shock that someone actually speak English to them, they will say, yeah, English 5. Group 19. So I would say, thank you, I'm your teacher. I'm so excited. And then I walk to the desk, drop my things, and then I will just say, how are you? Even before I begin to introduce myself to them. I will have small talk to make them relax. Try to make your student relax as possible, okay? And after I begin to introduce myself to them, I will say, I'm very happy to be here. Are you ready to learn? And in Thailand, we have the first name and also a nickname. Sometimes I allow my students to call me by my nickname because, to make students feel that I am approachable, I'm friendly. But still, we have the title Ajahn, which means teacher. So the student knows that I am the teacher. Okay? And I don't have to tell you this, but well, first impression is very important. So if you walk into the classroom with a smiling face, the student will remember for the rest of the term. And if you walk into the classroom with a not so happy face, the student will just remember that. And they will be very afraid to talk to you or to answer the question in the classroom, okay? And because we have to come up to this rule number one, create a positive climate, okay? Create positive and supportive climate in your classroom. You have to do that to help our student. Because the last thing we want to do to our student is to discourage them from participating in the classroom, right? And rule number two, what is this letter? A, B, C, D, F? Am I teaching you ABC songs? Because the E is missing. So what are they? In some countries, they are not A, B, C, D, and F, but rather A, B, C, D, and E. What are they? Thank you. These are great letters. In Thailand, we use A, B, C, D, and F. F means fail, and nobody wants it. So, rule number two, give incentive. I'm not saying that you should give grade-related incentives to your student. It works in the very beginning because if you're teaching college or university students, they care so much about grades, right? So sometimes we have to motivate them by giving them grade-related incentive. You say, okay, what's the capital city of Thailand? If anyone can answer this question correctly, you get 1 point. Okay, everybody. It's like you get 1 point from me. Okay, Bangkok, thank you. So sometimes we have to do that to motivate our students to participate in the classroom, to speak English, to answer the question, or to listen to us carefully. But as I say, these grade-related incentives, they don't last long. Okay? Because we cannot give points to the student all the time. We have limited points to give to them. And we don't want to make the student want to participate because they want marks or want points, right? We want them to want to participate from the inside, that they actually enjoy learning with us. So instead of using extrinsic motivators, we move to meaningful incentives. Okay. And when I say meaningful incentives, I mean, okay, from rule number one, you have to create positive classroom environment, right? That's when you get a good relationship with your student. You get to know your student. So you can make incentive personal to the student. And when I say personal, I mean, when you want to compliment the student, you don't make it generic. You don't say, welcome to class. Sometimes you can do that, but sometimes they still want to be recognized. They want to feel that they matter. There's somebody in the classroom. The student want to be noticed. So if you can make incentive personal to the student, that's going to make them want to learn more, want to improve themselves, want to impress you, want to impress themselves, okay? That's rule number two. Give meaningful incentives. And as teacher, you can be creative. Oh, rule number three, letters again. Now, A, B, C, D, E, and F. I have a question again. Do you know a word in English that contains all these letters? Anyone? This time, I'm giving you 10 marks, okay? 10 points. Feedback. Thank you. You can tell me later. I'm going to give you 10 points. Yeah, it's feedback. Have you ever noticed that? Okay, this feedback contains A to F letters. Okay, the rule number three, give student feedback. And what kind of feedback are we giving? Constructive ones, right? Because we just don't want to shower our student with only compliments, right? Or positive feedback, because that may not help them much. But we want to give them constructive feedback as well. And the method I'm using in my classroom, at first, I was going to show you the picture of a hamburger, but I don't want you to feel hungry. So, so the method I'm using is called the Hamburger Method or the sandwich method. So what is it? Do you familiar with this method? Can you raise your hand if you're familiar with this Hamburger Method? Yeah, just a few, so thank you. Imagine, okay, you can close your eye and think of the hamburger or a sandwich. There are 3 layers, the top, the middle, and the bottom, right? So the top part, we give praise to the student. We make the student feel good first, okay? We tell them, thank you, you did a good job, you done great. And for the second part, that's where you can give criticism, constructive one, because you want the student to improve. So the last part, you praise them again to make them want to improve themselves even more. For example, if the students speak English in the classroom, I would say, thank you so much. You spoke very well. You did a great job, and your sentences are grammatically correct, but okay? You could improve on the TH sound, because I know that this sound is very difficult for Thai students. And if you want to improve on that sound, I'm very happy to help you, okay? Thank you so much. Please participate more in the next class. I appreciate that. And that's it. When you do this to your student, it gives a lot of impact on them. And they feel that, wow, this teacher really noticed, really listened to me, really want where I can improve myself, okay? And so let's recap a little bit. 1, you create a positive climate, okay? 1, because you want to support your student in learning. And 2, offer meaningful incentives, okay? Make it personal because you know your student, okay? And the last one, you have to provide constructive feedback because the student doesn't only want to hear the positive side of, you know, their action. They also want to improve as well. And before I end my talk here, I want to emphasize to you as teachers that students, they really listen to us, and if we make students matter, your classroom will be silent no more. Thank you.